Hello and welcome to the Nerd Age Podcast. This is the show where four dudes talk nerdy to each other. Again, three nerds. Because Mick is not here again, unfortunately, but I am Jonah. I'm your host tonight, and I'm joined by Corey.
Yo.
And Josh.
What's up?
Thank you so much for being here. We're going to jump right in. We just got some random stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to start with Loki Season 2, Episode 3. Corey's all caught up now.
Yeah.
We're ready to talk about it. So we're just going to go spoilers ahead. What did you guys think of this episode? I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat right now. I think Miss Minutes is stupid, and I can't stand her, and I think she's dumb.
She's just in love.
She's annoying.
She's madly in love.
It drives me nuts. It's the whole little like clock. The whole
what do you have
her voice,
old-timey clocks.
Her voice drives me crazy. It's just like I don't know. I just can't stand her. The big negative for me in the show. It is
really.
It is. Yeah.
Wow. I thought it was funny that.
Well, what's she gonna do about that, darling? I mean, you can just leave that book there through the window. It just drives me. It's just I can't stand it.
Wow. I like it.
Just because the way
she talks.
It's just
that's kind of
the concept, the whole thing, the little clock. She's floating in the air. I hated the scene where she like turns really big and she's scaring everyone. She's like, "Boo! Run away! I'm scaring you!" Like,
yeah,
it drove me crazy.
But they foreshadow it with the newspaper article, so you knew she's spooking.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
she's spooking around. Hey, guess what? It's in October, guys. It's almost Halloween.
Yeah, I'm spooking.
You're telling me you didn't like it when she was like, "Oh, you're standing out too much," and she went black and white.
I thought that was great.
That was fun. That was funny, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
One moment that was okay. She just drives me nuts. I just don't.
Okay. I actually liked some of the close-up shots. I mean, this is more of I'm a fan of the CGI guys, but like the way she'd like sit on things, and she looked like she actually was there. Yeah. Like it was very realistic, but in like a like fake way. But like it was really good, well done.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, I like the effect.
Let me tell you something. I'm a big fan. You know, I'm a big fan.
Big fan of Miss Minutes.
It's like a out of the box kind of different concept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where else have you seen a cartoon clock? You know what I'm saying?
Cuphead.
You don't even know what that is.
Yeah, the game Cuphead.
Well, hey,
the game.
Here's the nice thing is that even if he had to guess what the game or the characters looked like, he'd be able to.
Guys, I finally got a game right.
Okay, what
and
type
named
of
it.
Cups are they?
It's like the teacup, isn't it?
Okay, all right.
Guys, I've seen these games.
But that's not.
I've never played them, but I've seen them.
They're not in live action. You know what I'm saying? They're just that's a cartoon.
But the animation is very similar. Will you agree?
Oh,
like
that's
the old timey, like the old Mickey Mouse.
Yes,
yeah.
She's supposed to be.
I know,
style.
but
then she's in live action, like she's in.
I know. It's weird. Do you get it? I'm just not a fan.
I'm just trying to explain to you what you're seeing.
This episode to me was the worst episode. Not just because Miss Minutes, but I thought that I hated. I know what they were doing. But when they're doing that whole chase scene, the music's like.
If I were to guess, that was going to be my. When it happened, I said, "Man, Jonah's going to hate this."
Yeah, I actually like the intro music.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like ragtime.
Yeah, the intro music was cool, but when it was in the action scenes chasing around, it's like.
That's not what it sounds like at all. But
don't you own a banjo?
I actually just gave it to Josh. He's going to be learning.
And it's more of a, what is the piano that they use?
Oh.
Yeah, like the stand-up piano.
Yeah.
The silent film. Yeah. That pulled me out of the show.
Yeah, I mean.
Joe just doesn't like fun. You know?
No,
it's not
about fun.
It is kind of funny because usually we're very like in tune on what takes us out. That actually didn't. Because I thought it was already, because you already set the stage with Miss Minutes, who's already kind of like this cartoon, hologram AI, and it's like, ooh, that's how they opened the scene, you know what I mean? And then or did they do it before? No, they did it after.
I mean, throughout the whole episode when they're like going through there's that music playing.
Okay.
So I just feel like
I don't know.
After a while, it's like, okay.
You don't think it fit the The stage, huh?
No, it just felt like it took. No, but I feel like the music they've been using in the series has been good, but that one just felt like it was too on the nose. That was like, I noticed it and was like, I don't like that. So if I notice something and I don't like it, it's on the nose. And I'm out.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I feel like they still use like more serious music later on, like when Sylvie shows up, and so for me, it didn't bother me. I instantly when I heard it though, I was like,
yeah, see,
Jenna's gonna hate it.
Like you noticed it pulled you out. It pulled you out of the show for a second because you thought of me instead of the show, so it did pull you out. Proven. Instead of thinking about what was going on, you said Jonah's going to hate this. Pulled you, and now I can go back to the show. I just needed to come out for a second. Jonah's going to hate this. Back in.
Yeah. I mean, I out of all the things to be,
right. I know. Hey, they're nitpicks. I know it's a nitpick, but
I mean, hey,
that's what we're here for,
guys.
Welcome to the Nitpick Podcast.
That's it. Honestly, it should have been called that.
We should nitpickers.
Sounds kind of crazy.
I'm gonna pass on that.
Yeah, it sounds kind of crazy.
Well, all right.
But it would be accurate. Yeah. But I mean, ultimately, it was kind of it was okay. It was just an okay episode for me. Yeah, it was. I liked his kind of intro to this variant. I liked how he talked.
His little like stutter thing.
Yeah, I thought that stutter, and then he almost talks like Australian, where they always finish on a almost as a question mark.
Yeah.
And so when he was doing that speech, I was like, oh, it's a really cool like character he's doing here. So I kind of liked that character. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of silly with the Loki's and then like the 3-way kind of like pull. No, and there's almost a 4-way pull actually now with Miss Minutes or whatever. But I mean, it's okay. It's just like an average.
Since you didn't talk last week about the first 2 episodes, did you like how it started? What was your feeling of the first 2 episodes?
Yeah. I mean, also because you guys talked about it already, so I was prepped for it. But I overall, I watched all these back to back, so it was almost like a full movie. Yeah. It was like a 2.5 hour movie for me, basically, which was enjoyable. It was just, it was just above average, just barely above average for me. And
too much time travel for you. You don't like time.
Don't get me started, man. No. But yeah, it's not bad. It was actually better than I thought it would be. Because I think my bar is pretty low. I don't know. I didn't really. I do like what's his face.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson, man. He's a good guy. I like him. I like him in everything he does. I'm just a big fan. He does make
the show better.
He somehow does the same character, like just
wow. He's just like Owen Wilson. To be honest,
an endearing, hey, he's just an endearing guy, and he's funny. He's great.
Well, I like when he was like, oh, we're gonna go look around or whatever, and he's like going by the Cracker Jack stand. It was really important. It's a high traffic area. Just like that whole thing is like
delicious.
It's a very Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
That was good. I like their back and forth. I think you're right. He's the best part. Him and Short Round again. I'm gonna always forget his name. That's how I know him as Short Round.
Okay.
I think they're the best part of the show. I like Loki, but he's very one tone to me at this point. It's just kind of like. They'll use him to be like the serious, oh, use your magic, use your spells kind of to get out of stuff. But he really hasn't had any that I would say anything interesting or that he's brought to the show that's we haven't seen before. If that makes any sense. He's really trying to get, convince Sylvie to help them and all this kind of stuff. But I feel like that's how he was in the first season. I just feel like the Owen Wilson character Mobius is just so much better at giving us new things. And even I'm more intrigued with like when Loki asks him, like, don't you want to know what your life was like, what you could be missing out? And he's like, no. And like, I think that's intriguing. Cause I do think we're going to see what he was pulled from. And so that to me is more intriguing than even the Loki stuff. Cause the Loki stuff just feels like, well, the stuff we've been seeing. But I don't know what you guys think about that.
I think for me, I think there's a good story to tell with Loki. I think they're at a disadvantage because like he's in the movies, he's been stripped of any type of, at least in the most recent ones, of consistency or even any like emotional weight to anything, right? He should be having a struggle with the loss of his father,
and then
right?
They always erase that.
And it's completely like in Ragnarok, it's like terrible. You know, they lose the, Odin, it gets killed in front of them, and then like it's like supposed to be a serious moment, and then like a second later, they're just doing a gag of him like Thor like wanting his help or whatever. So I think that's working at least for me. That's working against Loki. I do think they do have moments where he's like, you know, with his mom, where last episode where they, you know, were like calling back to his mom and stuff like that. And you see has still those issues there. And then even in this episode where he's like, they see the three statues. So you still see some unresolved family issues there, which makes sense. But I think it can go somewhere good, and they can, if they write it well. But I just think this is one of those situations where the connectivity of all the other movies and shows and the story they've not told well in other ones is kind of pulling away from this. It's the same thing with Ant-Man coming out before this. Makes me, I mentioned it last week too, but it's like, it like pulls away from the weight of He Who Remains. Because I think this character is good, and I like the way he played him. Like you were saying, Corey,
his character is cool.
It's like a good build up to like who is he going to become, but then like it's just kind of like overshadowed by the crappy version we got in the crappy variant we got in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And I think this is done so much better than what was given to us in Ant-Man that it's kind of a shame. So I think they have a lot of extra work to do to get me to the point where I'll actually really buy into the outcome. And that's just like as a result of a bad product that came out, you know, a couple months ago, basically.
Yeah. And one of the things that I was thinking about while watching those episodes, I was like, you know, the series is called Loki.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys are talking about the story, his one note kind of storyline so far. And I also am kind of concerned about that. I'm more concerned that it'll be maybe, not Jonathan Majors. What's his name? The inventor guy.
Yeah, that's the actor.
No,
that's the actor.
But what's the new character's name?
Kang.
Like Victor or something?
Victor Timely.
Yeah. I'm more concerned about it, like, you know, magnifying around that a lot more. But yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with it, because they have a lot of time in these episodes. Like,
yeah.
When I was adding it up, I was like, frick, it's a 2.5 hour movie for me. 45 to 55 minutes, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of time. So they could do a lot of work. And
well, they do have missed minutes on the show, so that's
they got
gives
plenty
them
of
more
them.
time.
That's right. But he's a dad. He's a dad. He can make those jokes.
But the problem,
yeah, I know,
I was about that. Yeah.
the problem, I think there's, talking about the time, I do feel like there's a lot of time in these episodes, and a lot of it could be cut out. Does that make sense? I just feel like a lot of things, I was like, well, has anything happened really? Like the whole chase scene with the guy, like the invention, you know, after he does the invention, and he sells the product for $1,000, and then you realize, I just feel like some of the chase stuff just went on too long. And it just feels like there's few in the moments, if we compare it to Ahsoka for me, where the Ahsoka episodes are like a lot shorter, but I do feel like the stuff with Balin, like there were some really interesting conversations happening. I'm not as interested in some of the conversations that are going on in this show. And so I don't know, because I feel like we've been getting the same scene multiple times in the first 3 episodes. It's always like, well, yeah, we're all gonna die, you know, kind of do, and then they do the same scene where it's like, oh, now this is gonna explode, and they can't figure it out. But we've had that scene done like 3 or 4 times in every episode, and I know they're just trying to put stakes on it, but after a while of kind of getting the same scene, very similar with the same characters interacting and being like, well, what do we need to do? Well, I don't know. What do you think we should do? Kind of thing. Like, I just feel like it's got to get pushed forward. And that's another negative for me, is I just feel like I've seen these scenes multiple times with the same characters.
Yeah. I mean, I could see where someone maybe sees it from the other side where they're like, we want as much as we can get.
Yeah.
Because I would say that, that, I'm going to sell you this. Oh, it doesn't work or, whatever. And then that gives you a window into his character.
Right.
Right. And so I think that actually did something. Like it wasn't just useless time spent. Yeah. Maybe the chasing wasn't as maybe as good as it should have been. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I would cut out. Maybe some of the missed minute stuff. I don't know. But I don't know. It didn't feel that like super long to me. That's the interesting part for me, at least.
Yeah. I thought for me, it doesn't bother me. And I think at least the shots are interesting enough where it's not like, I think they're done in an interesting way where it's not like, I'm like, oh, here's another chase scene or whatever. I feel like probably somebody would say the same thing about Ahsoka though. If they're not buying in, they would be like, why did we just have an asteroid chase scene? Like nothing happened.
Right.
Like I could see the same argument from somebody that's not really bought into. I mean, you like Ahsoka because you're buying into the story and the characters, and that's what you like. With this, you're not really.
I just want 10 more minutes in Ahsoka and 10 less in.
You hate missed minutes, is what you think.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys felt about this, but the whole like push pull of who's getting timely. They had this fight in the fight in the like Ferris wheel thing. Uh-huh. That felt frustrating to me because I'm like, well, if it really is your guys' existence at stake, why aren't we just grabbing and teleporting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he had not ownership, but like he had him in his hands. Basically, he had him, and he could have just went, and he didn't.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. It just felt kind of like soft and
it's
kind of
the
like,
same.
oh, this is. I mean, obviously scripted, but it's like,
Well, it's the same thing we talked about where Loki uses his powers very conveniently to get out of certain things he has to, and then when he should be using his powers, he doesn't.
Well, he's got to refresh, bro.
That's a perfect moment.
It's called CDs.
Yeah.
Cooldowns.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect moment where you're like, why didn't he use anything else?
Well, he might have ran out of mana or something like that.
That's true. That is true. Cooldown. But I just think that's a thing too that I'm like, okay.
Yes.
And this is a problem.
Isn't that convenient?
This is the problem I think that Marvel, and not just Marvel, but a lot of TV and movies run into. It's the same problem they had in Ant-Man, Quantumania. They set up Kang to have all these powers, like he would just stop somebody, and levitate them and turn them around, just with his mind, basically. And they do the whole movie where he's using that power and just overpowered. And then in the end of the movie, he doesn't think to even use any of that, right? Like he doesn't. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, you have Loki in episode 2, like create all these people that appear. And then when you're trying to find Victor Timely, he's like, where'd he go? He's like literally like 5 feet away from you. And you don't think to use anything, knowing that Renslayer is behind all this kind of stuff and she's right there, and you don't use it. You just revert to just running after them.
I think
it's weird.
Maybe it's a little bit of falling victim to like TV series itis, I guess I would call it, where it's like they can't go super crazy with things because they don't have the budget or I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they need to make it more smaller, like maybe the scale of things. Maybe they just need to have it smaller.
And I get that. And obviously, like, again, the reason this is happening is because they need it to go that way for the show.
For sure.
But it's just a little frustrating when it feels like you treat the audience right. You treat the audience like we're dumb and like, they won't get it.
You think we forgot that he can do all this crazy stuff?
Right. Especially when you have him doing it later on when it's needed. And then you're like, where did that go? Where did that power go? Again, valid. Same thing in Star Wars.
Yeah, when they
Phantom Menace, they run super fast, never use it again. Yep. The rest, it's just kind of like.
That would have come in handy when you were trying to get to Qui-Gon.
Jinx. But yeah,
can't talk.
At the end of the episode, though, she gets again. I didn't understand why they let Sylvie I'll handle her kind of thing. It's like this whole time you've been being like,
we don't trust her.
Yeah, we don't trust her, and then it's like letting her do it. Obviously. So she sends Renslayer to the end of time where Kang is killed and you see that his body's decomposing now. But we get to tease that Miss Minutes has a story or something to say about Renslayer that's going to make her very angry. So that's the tease. Mm-hmm. What did you guys think of the cliffhanger they're leaving you there? Is Renslayer a villain that you guys find? I mean, I don't know what the term is, but like
compulsive,
threatening. Like, is it something that you're like, oh, she's bad kind of thing, or is it just kind of seem like?
Yeah, I was gonna say you lost me when you called her a villain.
Yeah,
because I don't really. I mean, obviously,
because she's the antagonist. Her and Miss Minutes.
Antagonist. Yeah, I wouldn't call her like a villain. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. What do you think, Josh?
I mean, it's not like I'm like super, I guess, intimidated by her, right? No. But that's not the type of villain she is.
When she was rowing that boat, I was like, okay.
She's more
Strong.
of the. I think you're just supposed to be more of like, oh, what's she capable of doing?
What's she knows, up to?
Right.
Yeah.
That's more of that.
Yeah.
Of like, what's she gonna do to mess things up instead of like, oh my gosh, she has so much power and all that stuff. So I'm fine with it because I'm curious to see what her end goal is and what she can do to get that. But I don't think we're meant to be like intimidated by her, I guess.
Yeah, it's a different type of story, I think. But yeah. No, I mean, that's a good point. There's no Thanos here.
Yeah.
There's nothing except for maybe Kang.
Well, they're trying to set up the Kang. Yeah,
way off in the distance.
Yeah, and I think that's what, kind of what intrigues me about the show is I'm like I want to see where it goes in that aspect. I don't know if it's because I honestly don't understand the relationship with variants. Right?
Yeah, it's weird.
They haven't really. I don't know if they haven't explained it well or I haven't been paying attention enough. But I'm trying to get the idea of like, okay, so this guy's a variant of He Who Remains, right?
Yeah.
And he's being set up basically to turn into
head of the TVA,
to be the head of the TVA. So I'm curious to see like how they explain all that and if they explain it well of like basically how they end up setting him up in the end. Because that's kind of, it seems what they're doing. But I haven't really caught on to the relationship.
Yeah.
Between the different variants in that way and what the significance is. And so I'm kind of waiting to see, like, are you guys going to explain that well? Maybe they have kind of hinted at it and I just haven't been paying attention, but I'm curious to see kind of how it ends up.
And how that relates to all the Kang variants that were brought together at the end of Ant-Man and they're all going freaking out in the stadium to be like, yeah, we're at you. Like that. It's weird to me. The other thing that doesn't make sense is Marvel kind of put themselves, I think, in a bad place to have all this backstory of Kang in a show that I don't think, like if we talk about your mom, right, that loves the Marvel movies, is she watching Loki? Will she know any of this kind of stuff?
So.
Do they explain that in the movie to be like, oh, that time Loki and Mobius went around and fought this guy and ran around? It's weird to me. They kind of set themselves up to be like, there's going to be a lot of people that are missing out on this backstory that seems kind of a bigger deal than they're making it out to be. Well, it's just weird to me.
Kind of because, the Kangs that we're seeing isn't going to be the Kang that is in these Omega movies.
Yeah.
At least I don't think so. I do think that maybe this show is going to be more of like loosely equivalent to like, Rogue One, where it's like before all the craziness happened.
Yeah,
this is kind of like an origin story of how it all got set up.
Yeah,
maybe or something like that, or maybe they, it gives you a window into some kind of information about Kang that's awesome to know before you watch these bigger movies. I hope it's something like that, where it's a little bit more to it. It reaches more than just Loki and the TVA,
right?
So I mean, I'm assuming the TVA is going to have a big role moving forward, but I don't know. Yeah. Me and time travel, I'm not really, there's so many pitfalls that I'm just like, I'm so weary of it. I'm just like, I can imagine so many issues. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm hopeful for it to be the Rogue One of Marvel, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Cause I'm trying to remember in season 1, he mentioned Victor Timely, right? When he was giving his monologue, right?
I don't know if he mentioned we saw an end credits.
Well, that was That was the Ant-Man one.
which drives me nuts.
Scene.
Was it the Ant one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the scene, which to me, again, another complaint of mine is I just feel like these end credit scenes, like they set this up at the end of Ant-Man, it was like, it's him, right? And this, you just see him there with the experiment, and then it's complete, like it's just
it's a different
played off to be kind of more of a joke kind of thing. I don't know. But maybe he mentions them. But I think you see, like, because he shows like the different scenes.
So I think you do see maybe the original, because I'm trying to remember if he mentioned anything, because I know he was like, oh, my other variants I was keeping away, like those are the real bad guys or whatever. But now he's like, that was at that point, and now he's gone back in time and changed things basically from that point.
I don't know if he's changed things or he's just ensuring that he's back at the same spot, ensuring that that's happened. Because what Renslayer say, or Miss Minutes or Renslayer, I can't remember, says like he's ensuring that it was Loki's were always meant to kill him. Mm-hmm. So that's what, again, is a little frustrating to be like, it was all meant to happen. There's nothing they can do is changing anything. So he's ensuring that the AI is giving, anyways, it's a little,
time travel.
Yeah. But we'll see. I honestly don't think Marvel's really going to, I think this is going to end up being nothing.
Might be a dead end.
And it's just going to be like, you kind of use all these crazy things. Hey, check out next week, or, oh my gosh, no one had any say, no free will. Like they just it was all this guy, to then be like, we'll just forget about that. Kang's bad. Look how cool he is. Look at how epic, they've all been scared of this Kang, and all these Kangs in the stadium are freaking out because it's going to be crazy. Secret Wars. We're going to throw all these characters together, and then soft reboot. Let's do X-Men now. So it's to me, it's just going to be like another Marvel not really landing what they're setting up and just being like, yeah, but look at these guys. These guys are cool. You guys want to see Spider-Man again?
You guys like Spider-Man, right?
But we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we will see. How many episodes are in this season?
I can never.
I think it's 8.
8? Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
So yeah, next week will be the halfway point. So hopefully, lots of missed minutes.
Hopefully, it picks up a little more. Less missed minutes, please.
She's locked away, man.
They should get rid of her. Anyways, let us know what you thought of Loki if you're watching. If you're not watching, I guess you're spoiled. We spoiled it for you. But if you are watching, let us know what you think in the comments if you're enjoying it. If you're like me and you hate Miss Minutes, or if you're more like these guys and you think Miss Minutes is the best part of the show, let us know.
If you're fun, if you're fun and you enjoy fun things, just let us know.
Minutes. We're going to move on to just some random news. Cue the theme song. We don't have it, but there it is.
Sing it.
I don't remember what we did.
Yeah,
we just have the news scream guy. Anyways, just some random stuff. We have, I'm trying to get the quote here. Because Matthew Vaughn they asked him about doing Star Wars. He did X-Men, Kingsman franchise. But they asked him if he was happy, sad, confused, asked whether it would be tough to turn down a Star Wars movie at this stage in his career. And he responded, quote, "Now, not so much. For me, doing a Star Wars movie is to play with the characters I love. If they said to me they'd reboot Star Wars and actually have Luke Skywalker, Solo, and Vader and do your version of it, everyone would say you're an idiot to try, but that would excite me." And then he goes on to say, "Why are the Star Wars characters so hollowed that from 1977 you can't redo it for a new audience?" He goes on to say, "Star Wars is the Skywalker family, and that's where I think they've gone wrong. They've forgot. They've done brilliantly in TV, but it needs an epic new film. That's what I would do, i.e. reboot Luke. Everyone is going to go bat crazy about it, but let's bring it on. If you want a new generation, make the movie for them. The old generation, hopefully you make it well enough that they enjoy it." What do you guys think of? We talked about this even with Lord of the Rings, where some people are saying they're going to reboot it, do something different than Peter Jackson.
They're redoing Harry Potter,
right? So they're doing that kind of stuff.
Yep.
What do you guys think about rebooting Star Wars? So we still get the same story, the fall of Anakin, Vader, all that kind of stuff. Luke, Han Solo, Leia. What do you guys think? Is that sacrilegious?
I'm never going to watch another Matthew Vaughn movie ever again. Just because of that quote.
Yeah. Shame on him.
I think, so you bring up Lord of the Rings. The difference is that, same thing with Harry Potter, there's source material that hasn't been explored in the movies, right?
Okay.
Well, yeah, because you can't
put everything in a movie. You can't put everything in a show. So there's plenty of things or plot points that you can, when you reboot and retell the story, you can explore those different character aspects. You can't do that with Star Wars. There's no source material that we can go and explore.
But there is more information. So there's more like Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And Rebels and stuff like that. A lot of things have been made after the fact. Can we make that a more streamlined, consolidated story that flows better?
Potentially, I guess.
Like,
but
could we see Ahsoka and like Anakin training Ahsoka in a main trilogy movie like series?
Say if you add the prequels, could you have Anakin have Ahsoka and add that stuff in there?
And do you start from episode 1 or do you start from episode 3 or 4?
Yeah, 4.
I'm stupid.
You start at episode 6. You start at episode 6 and you go backwards. Jeez. Get Nolan on the phone.
So would you start from like 1? But anyway, I'm just saying there's additional
a valid point. That's a valid point.
Might be interesting. And maybe you could tie in some... See, that's where I think they get a little crazy. If they tie in too much new stuff. That's where I think you'd make people really mad. If you change like things about characters and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think
like Han Solo didn't shoot first.
Well, I just think you're going to run into the aspect
about how mad they were about that.
Well, yeah. And that was George Lucas changing it. Like the guy that created it himself. Here's the thing. You're always going to get, if you say reboot, you're going to get the fans that are like, why are you reboot? It's perfect. You can't reboot. You can't touch it. It's a masterpiece. Which, fine. You don't have to watch it. And he is saying it's for a new audience. And hopefully the people that have like the old movies will enjoy the new stuff. To me,
real quick, did you say yes? You don't
I don't want to reboot.
You don't think
I don't think it'll work.
Gotcha.
I think, and I said this thing.
I don't think actually.
I said the same thing with Lord of the Rings. Doing a reboot of Lord of the Rings doesn't diminish what Peter Jackson did with the original trilogy. It doesn't erase those movies. So I'm okay with give me more Lord of the Rings. I don't care.
But you're already getting, it's going to be tough. You're already getting more Star Wars.
Right. Sure. But do I think years from now it's untouchable? I think right now they should stick to the course to what they're doing and give us some different stories. But I'm not against them rebooting. I thought,
how many years
after we're dead?
See, that's the thing.
No, I'd be okay in 10 to 12 years. They reboot.
10 to 12?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. They do 3 new movies.
So you get 3 more, basically. That's it.
You do, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At the end of 12,
we're bad at counting.
At the end of 12, they do a thing that resets it. Like they go back in time. And then they
they're
getting the TVA. No, but I think
crossover.
Here's an interesting thing though. I've always thought they should redo the 6 movies, prequels and original trilogy in animation. And I think there's a way to do something where you can still do certain things with characters, but do things better. I think the Anakin falling to the dark side is McClunky. I think they could do that much better. I think there's certain things that you could do, and they did it in the what are those Star Wars shorts called that they did? Galaxy of Adventures. They're just like a minute, 30 seconds of just these scenes from the original trilogies done in kind of like an animation kind of thing that I think I was like, you could do a full movie and just add some more cool things. If you want to use some similar voice actors or actors that are part of it, that would be cool. If you want to throw Ahsoka in during the prequels, I think that would be a cool thing to do. Just do a different animation and you can kind of explore different things with it. So that's something that I think would be kind of cool.
So yeah, I think I would say I'm fine with it. And like you said, 10, 15 years. If they do 3 more, a couple other movies, and then reboot the whole thing, I think that probably I think that makes sense and it would work. Because then at that point, we're just kind of dragging on.
Yeah.
Now Ray's kids are, carrying on, whatever. So I think after that amount of time, I think it probably works. But I wouldn't. Yeah, I think it would be a tough sell. But you're kind of convincing me with like throwing Clone Wars stuff in and
I think
doing that kind of stuff.
I think it would make a lot of the transitions a lot smoother. I think you can make the depth of like the characters a lot better. I think there's a lot of, not a lot, but there's some problems with some of the first 3 movies that, could be fixed. That's saying it nicely. Yeah. And I think that the story that was told, it's been told better in animation. Like the Count Dooku stuff was sick. Yeah. Like when we saw that short, like I want more of that quality of storytelling in movie form. So I like this idea. Time frame I'm not sure about. 10 to 12, you said. Sure. I think that'd be okay. Because I think that is a big question is no other IP's really done this. This is uncharted territory. And I'm trying to think of any other IP or series that's had to do this where they're like, we've existed so long, our library's so huge, when do we redo it? Like I think Marvel's now kind of like thinking about it, but like,
well, James Bond just keeps going.
Yeah, they just James Bond's rules is just whatever
new Bond, just
buy in. Here's your buy in. Here's the new one.
Yeah,
right.
Kind of, I guess Doctor Who would be kind of the only thing that would be similar to that. But they do the same thing, like James Bond, where they're like, "Here's the new one,
the new Doctor."
But they do a story explanation.
Yeah, they get that new Doctor gets introduced at the end of.
Yeah, they get reborn. You get reborn, and then you look different, and you're a different actor all of a sudden.
And so that's there's kind of an element with Doctor Who where it's like
it's built.
They reveal who the new Doctor is going to be, and so it's kind of like
it's part of being a fan of Doctor
Yes, and it's kind of like there's a natural passing of the torch from one Doctor to the next, and then even some Doctors come back, right? Yeah, so like there's kind of like a weird with Star Wars. It's not like Mark Hamill's going to be like. The reincarnation.
Right.
They might be able to do something where it's like, in the Force, the chosen one kind of like thing. But I just don't think it works.
I don't think you have to explain it, though. No. I think if you're
going to do it, you have to rip off the Band-Aid.
You end it and you say, this is it. And we're rebooting.
And what do you do?
The new story.
A 2-year break of nothing. Or I don't think Disney can live with that.
No, you can't.
No.
It's like what? Like a half year of silence and then bang.
Yeah.
Episode 1, or episode 4 if they wanted to be weird about it. I think
they'd have to go at 1. They'd have to do 1.
I think you do 1, and I think that's also how you mix up how it feels to the newer watchers of this. Where they're like, "Oh, who's this kid?" And that kind of stuff. Well, so I think they can make it really engaging.
And here's you start with 1, and you're gonna have to change some things.
Oh yeah.
So I even think the way
like
he gets.
With his
found and all the stuff on Tatooine and all that kind of stuff. I think there's a better way to explain it. And even the aspect of like...
That's changing the source material.
Right. But I think if you're rebooting, you can kind of change that kind of stuff.
It's their IP.
But I do think one of the things Matthew Vaughn mentioned that I really agree with is he said there hasn't been a big movie and that's what's missing. There's a lot of people, and you mentioned we were gonna a lot of people, great people. You
sorry when you said that it sounded like
you mentioned
Trump.
That some of the Ahsoka numbers came out.
The Ahsoka numbers,
the numbers are not fully complete because they're based on Samba numbers.
They're never going to be accurate,
and so Samba numbers only take a certain percentage of smart TVs only in the United States. And it doesn't
only on a Tuesday.
No, but the numbers are kind of crazy because, so for example, my TV, if I cast from my phone, that number doesn't go into that number. So anybody that watches on a phone, so they're weird. And also on the smart TVs, you have to have Samba TV enabled for it to pick up. So the numbers are not fully there, but they're also comparing Samba numbers from Ahsoka to Book of Boba Fett, and they're lower.
Yes.
So they are lower than what people expected. But I think what he's saying about there not being a movie is I think a lot of people are getting tired of Disney Plus as far as like, is it worth having? Do I want to pay this much? Am I paying for Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, or Max now, Hulu? Like there's so many things, Apple TV, that I think people are like, well, what's on there? And so they do need to have a movie. And we had this debate a while back. Was like, are you okay with just TV shows or do you want movies? Right. I feel like Star Wars needs movies. There's something about an event movie that you're like, I'm going to see the opening crawl a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Boom, it hits you. You're with a bunch of other Star Wars nerds. That's what Star Wars needs to get people back on. And that's what he mentioned. Like they need to have a event movie. So I think that's what Star Wars is really missing.
I think this is kind of like the aftershock of COVID lockdown and how do we move forward from all that. It was really good for their pockets. You know, everyone, a lot of people paying. Well, how many dollars a month? How much is it for Disney Plus? 10, 12, something like that?
I think it's like the whole, I think it's 12.
Something like that.
14, isn't it? No, it moved up to 14.
If it's that much, that's consistent every month from every person. Well, not every person, but every family, right?
Yeah.
That's good money. And I bet it's better than, well, maybe not better, but I bet it's just so nice to be able to predict everything.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's so consistent. You know what your money flow is. And I know that's hard for them to break away from.
But they're losing money. They're losing subscribers and they're losing money based because on the budgets of their shows too.
Yeah. And I think that you're right. The experience of going to a movie is a lot more memorable than just sitting on your couch being like, oh yeah, did we watch the latest Ahsoka episode? Yeah. For us, we love it. But if you're like, oh, yo, I want to take my little son to go see episode 1 of the new Star Wars series. That sounds dope. And that could be a fun memory for them to have. You know, you don't maybe you don't have that crazy of memories at home, you know, just on the couch like usual.
Perfect example is us. We
have stories. We have
stories where we go and watch movies together. Yeah. Premieres. I miss the midnight release of movies. Like I do. Because it was, I know it's different for me now with kids, but I'm like, man, back in the day when it was like, hey, we'll meet at the mall at 10:30 to stand in line so we get our seat for a midnight show of something. That is different. And I know it's changed now because you don't have midnight releases and stuff like that. It's now like Thursday at 7. You know, it's gone up.
Lame.
But there's that element of like anticipating a movie, being like, man, I've been watching the trailers. Getting to this point, I've already bought the soundtrack. I've been listening to the soundtrack for 3 days, getting ready for this movie. Yeah. To then go and watch it for the first time.
We have so many
that
stories.
That is special. And I just think that's what, you're right. Me going home on a Tuesday and being like, oh, the new Ahsoka dropped, and watching
it's cool
for 40 minutes, it's not the same, especially because I'm by myself watching it.
I
right?
agree.
Like if we got together and did something, but you guys don't want to hang out with me.
We just don't. The problem is he farts a lot.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, I have to set up ahead of time because I actually wait in line here in my basement. I just stand here and I'm like, oh, gotta wait 2 hours before I can get in and watch the show.
Yeah. Crystal always gets the best seats.
That's right.
No, Crystal actually, it's a weird thing she has where she likes to do role playing. So she pretends like she's Josh has to come home and she goes in, she's like, hello, mister. What would you like to buy a ticket today? And she's like, awesome. And then he buys his ticket. Like, can I get 2 for, the Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll be $20. And then she's like, oh, well, you can go over there. And then she runs around and puts a little mustache on and pretends to be the person giving popcorn.
She starts popping popcorn.
Yeah. And then when he comes downstairs, she runs downstairs and she's like, the girl, she's like,
on your popcorn?
She's like, oh, hall number 10. You're in the right seats. Hey, I think I'm going to have to kick you out. You're in the wrong seats. You're up in those ones.
And then in the middle of the movie, she gets up, gets the little lightsaber thing, thing.
Yeah, she does the
checking you don't have any candy or pop that you brought in. outside food.
It's a weird dynamic that Josh and Crystal have, but it's what makes her happy.
Guess what? I have good memories.
Honestly,
you don't have any memories now.
Dude, I wish. That'd be awesome. Sounds awesome. Yeah.
But that's what we have to revert to because we don't. Disney has not given us Star Wars movies in theater.
But I think we all can agree. I think it'd be awesome to get those back on the menu. You know,
hopefully Dave Filoni's movie with Thrawn, Heir to the Empire, unless things change. I think they're gonna do. Yeah, but ever since the stuff happened with DC, where I'm just like, people are so like quick to be like, hey, we have to correct this. I get a little like, man, if they look at numbers, if the numbers truly are not as good, are they going to be like, hey, this isn't working, let's just scrap all that? I'm like, no, the stuff you got going for you is Dave Filoni. He'll get people into seats. You just got to trust the process, trust the cowboy hat. Don't screw this up.
Yeah, I am kind of worried about it a little bit, but I mean, the numbers, I think you're right, could be pretty inconsistent. So you never know. I hope it's better.
Here's the other thing though that's driving me nuts. There's a faction. There's two factions in Star Wars fandom right now, and there's a side that everything that Disney does, they're always negative about it because they're like they ruined my childhood, so they're always going to be negative. That's Nerderotic and all these other guys like Geeks and Gamers, all these people that land on this side of like, we're going to hate Disney Star Wars. Even if it's good, we're going to hate it.
Right.
And there's the other side that's like, all those guys are stupid. We're going to love it. And there's always this conflict there. So whenever the Ahsoka Samba numbers,
the Bendu, okay?
Yeah, we're the Bendu of Star Wars. We're right in the middle.
Yeah.
We got some sequel lovers. We got some sequel middlers. We got some sequel haters. I mean, we're everywhere. But here's the thing with the numbers that I was seeing. Whenever the Samba numbers would drop, you've got the websites that would be like, see, no one's watching Ahsoka, it's ruined. No one cares about the show. But again, the numbers aren't complete. And the other thing is, so when Nielsen drops the ratings, the actual numbers per episodes, they can basically go by how many minutes were watched. And so Ahsoka was like number 7. It was in the top 10, but it was number 7. But everything above it was Netflix. Now, the difference is with those numbers is Netflix has way more subscribers than Disney Plus. And so a lot of those numbers, when they're based on minutes viewed, it's based on, you also got to keep into account the Disney Plus subscriber numbers versus Netflix numbers are going to be completely different because Netflix is worldwide and is hit for longer. A lot of people have Netflix.
It's a bigger pool.
So that's another aspect too. When you just look at numbers and say, well, Ahsoka was number 7 and Suits is number 1, it's like, yeah, well, there's so many more people watching and they're watching past seasons.
Yeah.
So
how many
all
seasons of Suits are there?
All that aspect is you're watching 8 episodes of Ahsoka, 40-minute episodes. Then minutes are going to be a lot lower than Melissa's watching Suits right now. I don't know why.
What are we doing in our world?
But she's
number 1.
Yeah. So
oh my god.
So that to me is like that's also what you have to watch with numbers when they're reported. Depending on who reports it, if it's guys that are going to take the negative spin and be like, "See, no one cares about this." There's a reality to the numbers that it's not exactly just like it was number 7 and this was number 1 because there's different platforms, different amounts of minutes. It's just kind of a crapshoot there.
Can you say something for me, Jonah? I want you to say, welcome to the no spin zone.
We'll do it live. So keep that in mind. Yeah. It's just interesting that there's such a big fraction, a fracture in the fandom so far. So
I sense a fracture in the fandom.
I do kind of believe that it wouldn't be like the most popular because you're not dealing with a crazy name like, it's a Luke Skywalker story.
Right. And there's people that
who's Ahsoka?
Right. Yeah. There's people that didn't watch. I've seen that complaint too. They're like, there's no character development. Like, how am I supposed to care about these characters? And it's like, well,
valid, by the way.
If you didn't watch.
I will say it is valid.
Yeah.
It's like, well, watch Rebels if you want character development. 4 seasons. Or watch my recap that I did on TikTok.
Yeah. Well,
TikTok. TikTok. What you doing this over on TikTok?
It's a knockoff.
We have our own website called TikTok. Small little videos. Just like a TikTok.
Little nibble size videos.
Just keep you fresh.
That's right. Hey, yo. Trademark. Oh wait, sorry, trademark. Dang it.
It's interesting though.
But yeah, sorry, I was saying I understand why it is a difficult hill to climb because of it's not a Leia story, but I think Mandalorian went really well. I think that's why this movie could work, is because you put Luke Skywalker in there, you put Mando, you put Baby Yoda in there, and this pulls people. This pulls numbers. I guarantee it. Disney out there, if you're listening, it'll do well.
Yeah, just trust the process.
Dave Filoni, they'll do it up.
Yeah.
So I do hope they actually follow through on that.
Yeah. They've set up. Yeah. I think there's no way they're going to change what Mandalorian season 4 is going to do, because I'm like, you're already setting up this. Right. They're all going to collide with Thrawn. So hopefully, though, that the movie gets people and makes money and they do well. They do a good job. Not that it just make money to make money. I hope they're actually doing, like, I like what Dave Filoni's doing, and I hope they do a good job with it.
We all do. Did you see the rumor? Sorry, just real quick about Star Wars. Did you see the? I don't know how legit this is. Did you guys see the rumor about Acolyte, the Acolyte series? They're like Keanu Reeves.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Come on.
What do you guys think?
Is that Keanu Reeves as Revan?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Cast him as Revan. In?
No.
Dang it.
Why
his
not?
voice doesn't. His voice is so monotone.
I think I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Sick,
no.
He's got a helmet on, bro. Yeah, I think I'm back.
No.
How many times do I have to say it until you buy in?
Say it again.
Because you don't sound like, you sound cool. Keanu Reeves doesn't sound that cool.
No, he does. He's a cool guy.
He doesn't.
He's a cool guy.
He's so like one note, like, hey.
Yeah, I think I'm back.
I don't like
me
it.
Hyped for it, dude.
I'd rather have Idris Elba as Revan.
Oh,
way better voice,
bro. You
way
believe
better
him
voice
as a Mandalorian, dude? Really?
Idris Elba is way better.
Okay, now you say it in his voice.
I can't do Idris Elba voice.
Dang it.
If I did, I'd do it all the time.
I can do Idris. I can do Idris Elbow. Stupid.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
that's another one. So the Acolyte.
Idris Elbow?
The Acolyte, where there's already the people that are like, this is going to be garbage, because of what some of the actors have said, and, there's those factions in it. So I just think Disney right now is like, you got to put out something good that everyone's going to like, which is impossible.
So you think?
I know, you just said that
Yeah. Do we think that Dave Filoni's movie is the last thing that we see?
No, I don't think so.
Reboot?
No, I think they're going to follow through with doing episodes.
I think so too.
10, 11, and 12. But anyways,
That's Star Wars.
That's the Star Wars stuff. I want to talk a little bit. I know you guys haven't played this, but I got Mario Wonder.
I saw a lot of people playing it.
So
I was 5 feet away from it.
let me tell you something about this game.
We're talking about
Super Mario Wonder. Came out for the Switch.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think you guys need to come over and play sometime.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, you don't like hanging out with us. So.
Well, I mean, I'm working a lot, so, But playing with Maya and Madison is a ton of fun. So just the aspect that I can play with my daughters a game, and it just feels like something new for them, but it's nostalgic for me, was awesome. But this game is a ton of fun. So it feels like...
Tell me why, bro.
It feels like it's a sequel to Super Mario World. So the game for the Super Nintendo, it
the giant
plays kind of like it. No. the
wrecking through everything. Get out of here, man.
The way it plays, it feels very similar, but also just the way it looks. The map, how you traverse the map, feels like it. It's really hard to describe, but it feels like it would be a sequel to that game with updates to it. And the cool thing about this Mario is there are, what do they call them? They're called stamps. And so before you start each level, you unlock different stamps, so it gives your characters certain abilities. So one of them is when you jump, you pull your hat out and you float down. Or when you swim.
Is that where you're thinking it feels like it? Because in Super Mario, you could start with like a mushroom, or you could start.
You could do that kind of stuff.
The cape like that.
No, it's just more the way it looks and the way you go through the map and that kind of stuff. And even some of the gameplay and the music sounds like it too. It's really good. But you can do these stamp things. So remember in Mario 3, you have the frog suit. So when you'd swim, it was like you were a lot faster. Where there's a stamp where you can swim that way, that you learn how to swim. So when you're doing a water level, you can change the stamp so that you have that ability. So it removes the hat ability, but now you have this other stamp. Yeah. Or you can do other stamps where it's like changes the levels. So it gives you, in the NES Super Mario, you could do the switches that then would pull out the blocks, the exclamation blocks that were a certain color, yellow, red, green.
Yeah.
Well, this one, there's a stamp that'll be like in certain levels, there'll be those blocks that'll appear there. So there's just, it adds a different way of playing. So you can play a level and get to places that you couldn't get unless you use a certain ability or a certain stamp. So like there's one where you can also climb up walls. So like you'll have a wall jump. Normally you can jump back and forth with walls, but this one is like you can actually scale up and like dash up the wall. So it just adds different stuff.
It's very Mario. Like Mario 64, you wouldn't be able to get to certain areas unless you had these certain power-ups and stuff like that. Like you'd need access to these higher up places or whatever. Yeah,
and it's cool too. There's certain ways where you can pass a level a certain way that changes like access to other places. It's just really well done, and I just feel like it's a bigger game from what I've played. There's more different ways to play levels, and when you add the flower, like when you get the little, I can't remember what it's called, like the Wonder Fruits or whatever, and it actually changes how the level is played. So in one point, you're playing side-scrolling, right? And then you get the flower, and now the camera flips, so now you're walking up and down the screen, and it's the same level, but it flips up. So now all your characters are traversing the level up and down. It's weird. Like, it's really cool how they just do certain things like that. Or, there's like, you get the Wonder Fruit, and it starts snowing, and the blocks, every time the snow hits, it makes a block. So you have to like make your way through by hitting the blocks and then letting the snow accumulate to get up to certain spots. It's kind of just really unique how they did that. They did it with Donkey Kong a little bit with like the silhouettes and stuff like that. You do certain things, certain levels. And this one kind of implements different ways that changes the level. So you have to pass it a certain way. It's just really cool. And I just think it's kind of a fresh way of doing some Mario things, but also with some the traditional Mario things that I think is really good.
Would you describe it as like a wonder? Sorry.
It is a wonder. Hey, and the elephant suit is awesome.
No, it hacks.
No, it's not. It's cool.
Everything, bro.
You don't. You can lose your elephant. Videos. And then the other thing is, you got your flower power, but now you got bubble power. Remind me of Bubble Bobble, because you can shoot your bubbles and your other characters can jump on them.
Copycats.
It's nice.
Sue them.
It's nice.
Sue them.
So I would highly recommend Mario Wonder. Get it. Okay. It's a lot of fun.
Jonah?
You guys are going to come over this week, and you're going to play 4 players. I'm loving Toadette. Toadette's awesome.
Playing 4 players.
It's great. And there's also, for you, those of you who have kids, their Yoshi characters and Nabbit character are for Nabbit.
Dag Nabbit?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
are characters that if you play them with kids, they don't take any damage. So they basically can just run around.
Are Nabbits the guys who like would steal stuff with the sacks? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So you can use those characters. So if Madison wants to play and I don't want to worry about like her dying a lot, the characters don't take any damage. They can just follow along.
You ride Yoshi?
I don't think you can ride Yoshi.
What?
No.
So he's his own.
He's a playable character though.
Also, is Yoshi a guy or a girl? I've heard this both ways. What would you say? Man?
It depends on the Yoshi.
Green
Yoshi's a dude.
Green Yoshi's a dude.
Pink Yoshi's a girl.
Red.
Yeah. Red Yoshi? Oh, that's a dude. Fire. Blue Yoshi's a girl.
Blue.
Yeah.
Blue for boy? Yeah. Is a girl? That's crazy.
Because it's that lighter blue.
It is a lighter blue.
It's that lighter blue.
It is a lighter blue.
It's more of a turquoise.
Okay. All right. Well, let us know what your guys' breakdown on what Yoshi is. What gender.
But there can be some pink Yoshis that are boys.
What about white
It just
Yoshi?
depends on what you're born with. How you born? What you come out of that egg? What you packing at that
out
egg?
of 10, what do you give it?
Well, I've only played 2 worlds.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because I haven't really
this week, right?
Yeah, we got it on Friday.
Yeah. And you're working nights, so yeah.
Well, Saturday I was gone all. Friday I went and picked it up. We played in the morning. Saturday I was gone all day. We played a little today too. So.
Nice.
But I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna lay in bed and get my Switch out and play some. Go back and play the original levels because you can't get everything with kids playing. You want to go back and they run away. So
yeah.
So I'll let you know. But I really like it. I think it's really good.
So
it's a 10 out of 10.
You can't. So it's the best Mario game.
No, no, that's not true.
That's
not
what
true.
it is.
No, there are plenty of gaming
So are all the Mario's 10s
websites that gave it a 10. The Tears of the Kingdom, they gave it a 10.
Yeah,
and Breath of the Wild, they gave it a 10.
Yeah, bro, they all get paid, bro.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm giving this 9.8 out of 10.
There we go. That's a real number, and it's a real strong number too. So what's the 10? Which Mario is your favorite Mario?
Oh, see, but then nostalgia goes into it. You can't do that.
You can do whatever you want.
Best what
Except
would be the
give
best?
something a 10.
You can. You can give one thing a 10.
No,
those are your rules.
I know. I'm just
my
saying.
rules. I hand out 10s like the
guys,
candies.
I'm just trying to force you guys to make some decisions.
I would give.
dang decisions.
This is what I would say. I would give Mario 3 a 10.
Okay.
I'd also give Super Mario World NES, the Super NES.
Yeah.
That would be a 10. I think those 2 games are like perfect, and there's a lot of nostalgia into those.
Okay. Nice.
Mario 2.
Yeah.
No, that's one of the lesser ones.
Well,
original Mario is
Mario
not a
2,
10.
Mario 2 wasn't supposed to be Mario. You know that, right?
Well, was it? Yeah, they did the same thing they did with the Link,
it was supposed to be a different
Zelda
game.
2, Link's Awakening.
Yeah, so I discount those two. Whatever, not even really anything, but that's cool. That's exciting. That's fun.
That's good.
I'm glad they have those mechanics in there so you can enjoy it with your kids. That's really cool. I think Mario Kart has that too, where you almost have bumpers, like bowling, so they can't get turned around and they can't run into walls.
They can't fall off Rainbow Road.
Yeah, it's awesome. Makes it more fun for the kids. That's awesome.
And for the first time, you can play as Daisy in a Mario game, which is good. I have 2 daughters that are playing, so one can be Peach and one can be Daisy. They don't fight.
Oh, so who are you saving then?
You're saving the Flower Kingdom. Bowser turned into a massive mecha floating ship.
Okay.
So we got to save the flower people.
Okay.
It's good. We're in a different world here. It's awesome. It's great. Good stuff.
That's awesome. Nice. What else was there? Was there anything?
Spider-Man 2 came out, but none of us have played it. So Mick's not here.
That's what my joke was going to be in the text. I was going to be like, Spider-Man 2 and this guy's ranting and raving about Mario Wonder.
Hey.
But I don't have a PS5 either.
Yeah.
Me and you don't have PS5s. So legitimate reasons why we're not playing. What's your reason, Josh?
My reason is I still haven't beat Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh my gosh.
I still haven't beat Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. So I'll buy it eventually. So I still didn't beat Miles Morales. So
well, we talked about this because Mick, who's on the show, he loves those Spider-Man games. He's a big Spider-Man. His last name's Parker, so
that's how big of a fan he is.
That's how big of a fan. He changed his name to Parker.
Committed.
But he was really excited. I assume he has the game. I would assume he pre-ordered it and he downloaded it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But he'll probably have to talk about it next week on the podcast because none of us have played it. Corey's watched some people play it.
I watched a lot of it.
I've seen people like shooting themselves like really far.
Oh, have you seen
doing that kind of stuff? The Sandman stuff and was pretty cool. But again, I haven't played it, so we'll probably have to talk about it next week when we can get a.
What have we seen?
Have you seen that you can turn on ground damage? So if you fall from up top, it's like. So it looks pretty brutal.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to talk about, just real quick.
You bleed to death on the ground?
No, you just like.
No, like if you mess up, you take fall damage. That's all. It's just a more realistic take on it, which also goes into this next thing I was going to say, which was you can control how much web like swinging assistance you get. So I think it's more of a speedrunner's dream. Also, maybe a more noobish guy's nightmare. But like I see people like swinging, and they have to plan out where they're going to connect their webs to, or you can have it just easy mode, whatever. But I saw a guy who, like, because you have fall damage, he's just like, there's a lot of, when you think about swinging by a rope, it's really dangerous. But the guy like held onto his web, and he went like full like this and just slammed into the top of a building. And it was just like boom. And I was like, oh yeah, there would be that danger of that if you don't let go. So it was just really cool. People have just been talking about the physics in this game are probably the highlight. The way they're traveling with the webs and how they fly and stuff like that. It's really fluid and cool. So happy to talk about it next week with Mick. Hopefully he'll get into
expert Mick.
And you can tell us
Parker
all about it.
Yeah, Mick that's Parker. Cool. Batman still wins though. The Arkham Batman.
It honestly looks like Batman.
In
like,
what?
The combat.
It just wins.
It just wins.
In a foot race?
No, if they're fighting. They're fighting.
The games.
Yeah, the games are fighting.
2 games.
I put 2 games
honestly,
right now.
I would disagree. I would say probably Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom win.
Oh, absolutely.
See how he did that? See, I'm just like taking random games and being like,
see,
this game's better.
It's just how it works. He has a sword. Batman doesn't have a sword. Neither does Spider-Man.
Oh man, you beat it, right?
What?
Tears of the Kingdom?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You gotta get on that, man. Game of the year.
Busy guy, bro.
He's not gonna finish it.
Actually, I don't think it will be a game of the year.
He won't finish it. What's gonna win?
I won't finish it ever.
I don't know.
Starfield?
People saying Baldur's Gate.
I think Baldur's Gate wins it big time. That game was so big, dude.
Yeah, but Mario Wonder is pretty good.
Yeah, pretty big.
I don't have any skin in the game. I enjoyed Tears of the Kingdom.
For sure. The story was great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's a lot of fun. You got to finish it. You're not going to.
Yes, he is.
You're not.
Next year.
He's doing dice. He's playing Diablo.
That's true.
He's got to beat Jedi Survivor.
Crystal's
going to be playing Moonrise Kingdom, Stardew Valley update when it comes on. When's this guy going to be able to play the Switch? He's going to have to role play to be a farmer to be able to play for a little bit. She also enjoys doing that, where he has to come and be like,
"Excuse me, can I
put some radishes?" They have this weird dynamic.
I love how you imagine their relationship to be this.
You know what's the creepy part is that he's the one imagining.
I know
that's the messed up part.
They got all these costumes and stuff.
She's dressed up as Tom Nook, for the.
Now you're throwing Animal Crossing in there.
It's all part of it. It's a weird thing going on here.
What was the thing with
Josh comes home randomly and she's dressed up as like Legolas sometimes, and he has to pretend he's Aragorn.
Animal Crossing? Aren't they going to do like a live
They're doing
action?
Legos.
Oh, Legos. That's what it is.
Yeah.
More money down the drain.
No.
Yeah.
More money down the drain.
I saw that. I was like,
I need the minifigures. I need at least.
They're pretty sick, actually.
Stoked? Yeah, Crystal's stoked. I mean, our producer's stoked.
Hey, and big news here. Spokane, Washington, where this podcast is recorded.
Wow.
Now you know.
And our address
we are getting a Lego store opening in November. Heck yes.
Yeah.
I got no money, but I'm going to be there every day. I might try to get a 4th job there just to get that discount.
Well, the cool thing is, and I was wondering because it's I can't remember what business was there, but it was some outdoor clothing store. I don't know if it was REI or whatever, but it's 2 stories. The place that they have.
So it's next to the Apple store.
It's right next.
Yeah.
And they have a built-in elevator that goes up.
Yeah.
So I saw
made of Legos.
I saw the top part, but the bottom part's way bigger. So I'm like, I think they're gonna have a cool experience there.
Lego stores are always cool.
Sets.
Like the way they do like the sculptures and stuff. They're always pretty sweet.
I might have to be working there on the weekends.
Heck yeah, dude.
I mean,
for that discount.
If you could
Hook
get
up
in,
that discount.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, I'll show them my Lego collection.
What are you gonna show them, bro? What are you gonna show them to get a job?
That was an unfortunate pause.
That was a funny pause. Yo, put that on Tick 2. Or Tick that.
Tick 2. Put that on Tick 2.
Tick 2. That's not copyrighted, so we can do Tick 2.
There we go. Yeah, so
that's awesome. Hey, I'll stop by there every time I go to the mall. That'll be sick.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'll venture downtown and fight off
children,
the bad people that are downtown.
Oh, the homies?
Yeah. Just to go to that Lego store.
Heck yeah, dude.
Everything's going to be locked up though.
I really, you know what I
They'll have security guards.
You know who I feel bad about? I feel bad for my buddy Bryce who started his brick by brick.
But
Lego
it's a little different.
It's a different. I know it's different. It's like a trade in,
right? You can people go in and take. I was actually going to sell some stuff, but they have like a wait list of like, bring in your stuff. We will evaluate it and then tell you how much. And I was like, I'll just sell it on eBay.
Oh yeah, if you can do it faster, yeah. And I'm sure they won't just buy everything. I bet they have they have to watch how much inventory of what they take.
Yeah. And I think they also just buy parts. So it doesn't have to be full sets.
That's interesting.
When I was in there was a kid that was like, I brought the rest of my Lego. How much credit do I get? And they're like, all right, here you go. And he just bought like new stuff.
2 quarters.
Yeah, basically. That's the one thing is like trade-in value isn't great, but that's how it always goes.
It's cool though, because like, you have GameStop, right?
Yeah.
However successful they are. But then you also have like Game World, which is like the secondhand reseller, like old school stuff. It's still needed. So
we're slowly becoming a Lego podcast, which I'm down for.
I mean,
pretty soon.
If you guys want to, do an unboxing, I'm down.
I mean, Kama had his Rivendell on there.
That's right, I did.
On TikTok.
It's a good time. TikTok. Follow us on the TikTok for all your Lego. Hey, and we did have some Lego. What are those things called? I just lost my train of thought.
We had some Lego.
We had some Lego
life hacks.
Oh yeah,
about dusting your Legos.
Oh, with the carpet.
That's right.
Samples. Yeah, that's great. That was good.
Good stuff. I think that's it for the show.
Is it? Yeah, I think that's it.
We are done. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You can follow us on Facebook, on TikTok.
TikTok maybe?
TikTok as well. We're also on YouTube and Instagram. So make sure you're following us there. Check us out wherever you get podcasts. We'll be back next week, hopefully with Mick and some Spider-Man 2 talk. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. See y'all next week.
See ya.
See ya.